Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video we are going to discuss CPGET 2025 MA English syllabus. And in this video we are also going to discuss the important topics that need to be covered during the preparation of MA English entrance exam. As we all know, MA English syllabus consists of 100 marks and it includes part A and part B. As we all know, CPGET conducts MA English entrance exam for 100 marks, and 100 marks are divided into two parts, part A and part B. And for part A, 40 marks are allotted, and for part B, 60 marks are allotted. And for part A, under part A, we will expect the questions only from English language, and under part B, we get the questions only from English literature. And now we will discuss the complete syllabus and the important topics that you need to cover. And this is the official syllabus released by CPGET 2025, subject code 13, English syllabus. As we all know, part A for 40 marks and part B for 60 marks. Let's look at the syllabus. Yes, now we will discuss about part A of MA English entrance exam syllabus. Yes, part A consists of 40 marks and you will get the questions. You will get 40 questions under part A, and you will get the questions exclusively from English language. And let's discuss in detail. First segment, spelling and punctuation. Under part A, the first segment is spelling and punctuation. Let's look at spellings. Here, you need to focus on the words which have correct spelling. You need to find the words which have correct spelling. You will get lots of confusion while finding the correct word with correct spelling. For that, you need to practice a lot on this, and you need to practice lots of bits basing upon spelling, finding the correct word with correct spelling. And when it comes to punctuation, you need to find the sentence which have proper use of punctuation marks, and you need to focus on the various punctuation marks and their importance and their usage in the sentences. And they'll give you a sentence, then you need to find the they'll give you various sentences, and you need to find the sentence which have correctly punctuated. And also they'll give you a punctuation mark and they'll ask you the usage of that punctuation mark. So you need to focus on all the punctuation marks and their usage, and also you need to practice the bits which have correct punctuation marks. And practice is the only key to master this part A. Next segment, vocabulary. Under vocabulary, we have various topics like antonyms, synonyms, one-word substitutes, words often confused, and idiomatic expressions. And let's discuss in detail. When it comes to antonyms, antonyms are nothing but the words which have different meaning. Nothing but opposite words. The words which have opposite meanings are called as antonyms. And for antonyms, you need to learn more antonyms. You need to make a list of antonyms and you need to revise them. You need to practice them again and again so that you can do the questions well in the examination. We already made a video on antonyms. Go and watch the full video in our YouTube channel on antonyms. They are the most important and most expected questions, most expected antonyms that we can expect in the upcoming exam. Go and watch the full video on antonyms. When it comes to synonyms, synonyms are nothing but words that have the same or similar meaning. So the words which have same or similar meaning are called as synonyms. And to remember synonyms, you need to practice lots of synonyms. You need to revise them repeatedly, and doing exercises on antonyms and synonyms is the key to your success. And the next topic under vocabulary is one word substitutes. Under one word substitute, you need to find a single word that can replace a phrase or a group of words or a complete sentence. Or otherwise, they'll give you a complete sentence or a group of words or phrases. You need to find a single word that can be replaced instead of that sentence. Here, you need to learn one word substitutes, and you need, again, for one word substitute you need to practice more so that you can get best results. And when it comes to words often confused, yes, these are the words that have similar spelling or similarities in spelling or meaning, so that they give you a lots of confusion. So to avoid that confusion, you need to practice more and more bits on words often confused. You need to be very particular about the spelling of each word and even their meaning too. For example, we have the words like accept, ACCEPT, and accept, EXCEPT. These are the words which have the similarities in meaning and also similarities in pronunciation, but they are different in meaning. And one more example like affect, 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 and effect, 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 affect and effect. These kind of words which makes you confused. And next we have, under vocabulary, we have idiomatic expressions. Idiomatic expressions are nothing but phrases or expressions that have a figurative meaning, which is different from literal meaning of the sentence. Yes, so you will idiomatic expressions are nothing but the words or phrases or sentences which have a completely different meaning than the literal meaning. So here you need to be very careful. Don't get confused with the words in the sentence. That is not going to be the correct answer. You need to learn more and more idioms and idiomatic expressions to get good results. So here you need to practice more. Idiomatic expressions always contain not the literal meaning. It contains a figurative meaning which is different from the literal meaning. For example, break a leg. Break a leg. Break a leg, by saying that, they'll give you various options like breaking the leg. So don't get confused with the words in the idiom. It is not breaking the leg of a person. It is wishing good luck. Breaking a leg means good luck. So this is the figurative meaning. So don't get confused with the literal meaning of the sentence or the phrases or the words. So this is about idiomatic expressions. And next we have grammar. Yes, grammar is very important thing in English language, and we can expect a kind of questions which are on the standard of MA English entrance exam. They prepare the questions by keeping in mind about the students who have recently completed their degree or graduations. You will get the questions basing upon graduation level. So you need to have an idea about all the segments under grammar, and you need to practice more and more to get good results and to get correct answers. And under grammar we have the first segment, tenses. Yes, as we all know, we have 3 times and 12 tenses, and present, past, past and future. And under present, simple present, present continuous, present perfect continuous. Under past, simple past, past continuous, past perfect, and past perfect continuous. And under future, simple future, future continuous, future perfect, and future perfect continuous. And you will get the questions basing upon all these tenses. And here you need to remember, you don't get confused with the structures of all these tenses, and you need to remember the keywords in every tense. Yes, there are a bunch of keywords under every tense and you need to remember them. And also don't get confused with the helping verbs and also main verbs. And after reading all the rules of all these tenses, all these 12 tenses, immediately do some exercises on tenses. This will help you a lot. And prepositions. Yes, prepositions are nothing but the words which we use to show the relationship between a noun or a pronoun and other words in a sentence. Yes, these are the words which we use to show the relationship between a noun or pronoun and other words in the sentence. So under prepositions, there are various prepositions. Yes, prepositions are the under all these segments of English language, prepositions is the toughest part, but there are some common usage prepositions which we use in our daily language, and don't get confused with the mother tongue influence while doing the questions on prepositions. Every prepositions have particular usage, and learn all those usages and you will get the repeated questions on, especially on preposition. So go and watch all the previous videos and list down all those questions on prepositions so that you can answer them easily. Yes, there is a lots of probability on repeated questions on prepositions. Yes. Next, under grammar we have concord. Concord is nothing but the agreement between different parts of a sentence. In a sentence, we have the basic structure of a sentence is subject plus verb plus object. And here you need to understand the relationship and the agreement between all these parts of the sentence. And especially we get the questions on subject and verb agreement. This is very, very important. You need to practice more and more. After learning tenses, directly jump to the topic concord. Here you need to find the agreement between subject and verb, or you can say subject verb agreement. And auxiliary verbs. Yes, as we all know, auxiliary verbs are nothing but helping verbs. Yes, these are the verbs which are used to help form the tense, mood and voice of the another verb, that is main verb. So there are, under every tense we have auxiliary verbs, helping verbs. For example, under present we have am, is, and have, has, and under past we have was, were, do, did and had. Likewise, and when it comes to future, will, shall. So you need to be very careful while reading all these things. And also we can also expect a question on modal auxiliary verbs like do, does, did, and can, could, shall, should, may, might, need to be, ought to. These are various modal auxiliary verbs. We can also expect the questions on modal auxiliary verbs. And this is all about grammar, which contain tenses, prepositions, concord and auxiliary verbs. And next segment we have active and passive voice. Under this topic you are going to learn the differences between active voice and passive voice. Yes, the construction of sentences is different in active voice and passive voice. They'll give you questions on they'll give you a question like this. They'll give you a sentence from active voice and they ask you to find the sentence which changed into passive voice. Otherwise, they'll give you a sentence on passive voice which is already in the passive voice, and they'll ask you to find the sentence which is in active voice. They'll give you 4 options. You need to find one option, the correct option. And for this, you need to learn the rules of active voice and passive voice. There are a set of rules under active voice and under passive voice. You need to learn all those rules. As soon as you learn the rules, directly do the exercises on active voice and passive voice. And the best thing you can do here is list down the previous year questions. Go back to all my videos on previous year papers, watch all those videos and take the screenshots of all the questions on active voice and passive voice. The kind of questions that they asked in the previous year papers, that will help you a lot. And basing upon that, prepare for active voice and passive voice. And after taking the screenshots, list down them in your notebook and try to do more exercises after learning the rules and after watching the previous bits on active voice and passive voice. This will help you to master in active voice and passive voice. And next we have, in the next segment we have correction of sentences. Yes, under correction of sentences we have identifying the error and identifying the correct sentence. Yes, first identifying the error. Yes, here you need to find the mistakes in sentences, which could be grammatical, syntactical, or related to the word usage. And under identifying the error, you will get the questions like this. They will give you a sentence and they will divide the sentence into 4 parts or 5 parts, sometimes 5 parts. If they divide the sentence into 4 parts, then they will give you 4 options, 1, 2, 3, 4. There you need to find the sentence which part of the sentence has grammatical error. You need not to correct the sentence. You just need to find the part of a sentence which has grammatical error. This is about identifying the error. And if you have good command over punctuations, tenses, auxiliary verbs, active voice and passive voice, and on Concord, you will rock the identifying the error segment. And next segment we have identify the correct sentence. Yes, here you need to find the sentence which is grammatically correct and which is in the correct form when it comes to punctuations. You need to find the correct sentence grammatically, syntactically. So here they'll give you a list of sentences, like 4 sentences, and they'll ask you to find the sentence which has no error, or they'll ask you to find the correct sentence. So here you need to find, among all the 4 sentences, there will be one sentence which is grammatically correct, and you need to find that sentence. And the remaining 3 options contain sentences with error. So be careful while doing these questions. See, here I want to give you a note that whenever you are reading a question, read the question carefully. They'll give you words like not a correct sentence or except, except. You need to underline these words so that you can answer the questions in a proper way, in a correct way. Even if you have the knowledge on all these topics, if you miss the single word in the question, then it will completely go reverse. So that's why read the questions carefully, focus on the words like not and except. Okay, next, exercises in jumbling. Yes, and under this segment we have jumbled words to be arranged in the right order to form a sentence, or paragraph sequencing. Here they'll give you jumbled sentences. Okay, jumbled sentences or jumbled words. First, when it comes to jumbled words, they'll give you a group of words which are arranged in a jumbled order. You need to arrange them in the correct order or the right order. They'll give you for A, B, C, D, and under that they'll ask you a question to arrange the below words or below phrases in the correct order to make a meaningful sentence. Under that they'll give you A, B, C, D, E sometimes, and under that they'll give you 4 options, 1, 2, 3, 4. They'll arrange the words like A, B, C, D or B, C, A, like that. They'll give you jumbled words or phrases, and you need to arrange them in the correct order, in the right order. Then you need to find the correct option. Here you need to be very careful. They'll give you a rough sheet in the examination hall. While doing the question on jumbling, write the sentence if that is the simple sentence, it's okay. You need not to write it again on the paper. But if you're hesitated about getting the correct answer, then write the correct order that you are expecting. Then write the order in the paper. Then you can find the answer. Then you can eliminate the options if it is a tough question. This is about jumbled words to be arranged in the right order to form a sentence. And next, under exercises in jumbling, we have paragraph sequencing. Under paragraph sequencing, you need to arrange a group of sentences. They'll give you a set of sentences, and you need to arrange them in the correct order to make a meaningful paragraph. So again, here don't get confused. They'll give you sometimes they give you lengthy sentences, so you need to be very careful. You need to keep in your mind about the time also. Don't waste your time on single question. You need to complete the question within 50 seconds. So here they'll give you a list of sentences like A, B, C, D, E, and they'll ask you to arrange them in the correct order to get a meaningful paragraph. This is about paragraph sequencing. A gentle reminder to the candidates who are watching this video: if you like the content, click on the like button. This gives me motivation to make more videos to help you in the MA English entrance exam. So most of the people are watching the video, but they are not liking the video. If you like the video, which gives me motivation to make more content, so click on the like button. This is all about part A, 40 marks in part A for English language. Now we will discuss part B. For part B they allotted 60 marks, and under part B you will get the questions on English literature, and here various segments under part B. Now we will go in detail about all these segments, and the first segment is history of English literature. Here you need to learn the complete history of English literature, starting from Old English period to postmodern or modern period. So here you need to be very careful about various periods in English language, like starting from Old English period, which is also called as Anglo-Saxon period, and Middle English period, which is also called as Anglo-Norman period. Next we have Renaissance, and under Renaissance we have various periods like Elizabethan period, Jacobean period, Caroline period or Caroline age, and Puritan interregnum or Commonwealth period. And we have various periods like Restoration period, Age of Pope, Age of Johnson, Romantic period, and Victorian period, Modern period, and Postmodern period. Likewise, we have various periods in history of English literature. And here, whenever you are reading a period, for example, Old English period, which is also known as Anglo-Saxon period, here you need to list down the writers, the important writers belongs to that Old English period. And also you need to be very careful about you need to learn the major literary works produced during that period. And when it comes to Middle English period, major work which we have so many repeated questions in the previous year papers on Geoffrey Chaucer's Canterbury Tales. Yes, in the previous year papers video discussions, we already discussed in detail about Geoffrey Chaucer. So go and watch that video. Make a list of how many pilgrims were mentioned in the Geoffrey Chaucer's Canterbury Tales and where they are going. So likewise, we have various details about Chaucer's Canterbury Tales. And in Old English period, there are major works like Beowulf and The Wanderer. These are the major works. So you need to list down all the major works and major writers during that period. And when it comes to Elizabethan period, we have major writers like Christopher Marlowe, Shakespeare. When it comes to Shakespeare, you need to learn all his plays. You need to at least learn the names of all his plays. Like he has written plays like tragedies, comedies, and also sonnets. So you need to be very careful about his first portfolio publication date, which we discussed in our previous videos, and also sonnets, how many sonnets were written by Shakespeare and when they were published. And under Jacobean period, under Caroline period, you need to, and under Puritan interregnum or Commonwealth period, you need to list down the major writers and major works written by them. And when it comes to Restoration period or 18th century, Age of Pope and Age of Johnson, you need to learn the major works written by John Dryden, Alexander Pope, Jonathan Swift, Dr. Samuel Johnson. These are the major writers, but you need to find more and more writers and their major works which were produced during those periods. And when it comes to Romantic period, as we all know, Romantic period starts with the publication of lyrical ballads, which is written by William Wordsworth and Samuel Taylor Coleridge. We have seen so many questions in the previous year papers on William Wordsworth and Samuel Taylor Coleridge, that is S.T. Coleridge. And also there is another great poet, John Keats. You need to learn the major works of all these writers, and also you need to list down some more major writers from all these periods. When it comes to Victorian period is also, during this period, the prominent and the leading literary genre is novel. And here you need to learn the major novels written by Charles Dickens, Emily Bronte, Anna Bronte, Charlotte Bronte, and Oscar Wilde. Likewise, you have to list down the major novels written by all these writers and also the major poems and plays produced during this period. But the major dominant literary genre during this period was novel. And also you need to learn the major writers and major works from modern literature or postmodern literature or the contemporary literature, like T.S. Eliot and Virginia Woolf, Salman Rushdie. As we all know, T.S. Eliot wrote a great work, that is The Wasteland. Every time we can see a question on T.S. Eliot's The Wasteland. And also Virginia Woolf, she is the great feminist writer. You need to learn the major works written by Virginia Woolf, and also Salman Rushdie. Salman Rushdie is famous for his magic realist novel Midnight's Children and Satanic Verses. Satanic Verses is the most controversial work written by Salman Rushdie. You need to learn the major works written by all these writers. So focus on history of English literature, on especially on all these periods, starting from Old English period to modern or postmodern period. And the second segment is literary terms. Here, under literary terms, there are various literary terms like figures of speeches, like the literary terms, literary devices which we use in the poetry and literary genres. Like there are various literary terms, especially figures of speech like metaphor, simile, allegory, onomatopoeia, euphemism, oxymoron, anaphora, hyperbole, metonymy, cacophony, euphony, enjambment, personification, aporia and apostrophe, irony, satire, parody, alliteration, assonance, consonance, and apart from these, there are various literary terms like symbolism, imagery, tone, mood, atmosphere, parody. So these are various literary terms you need to learn. At least you need to learn the definitions or the meanings of all these literary terms, and at least you need to list down two of the examples for each of the literary terms that I mentioned just now. And the next segment, that is literary forms. Under literary forms, you need to learn various literary forms like poetry, drama, novel, short story, and under every genre we have various forms like, see, as you are from degree graduation level, they'll ask you the questions only on graduation level, so don't expect the questions on high standard. They'll give you the questions on average standard. So don't worry about especially part B English literature, non-literature students like BSc, BCom, BA students, don't worry about English literature. Just focus on the things that I mentioned in the videos, in my previous videos, and also in this video. Just try to learn them. You will master the exam, you will get the success. So don't worry about English literature. English literature is a very interesting topic, very interesting subject. If you, yes, once you get into MA English, then you will understand the value of it, and you will understand the aesthetics and beauty of this subject. And for now, don't worry about anything. Just learn the things that I mentioned, that I discussed in the previous year papers videos, and also that I discuss in this video. The tasks which I gave you, the tasks which I ask you to do those things. Just now I mentioned a list of writers and their major works. You need to find the major works of all those writers in every period, and you need to learn the definitions or meanings of all those literary terms that I mentioned just now. Now we will look at literary forms. We have various literary forms like, under poetry we have various forms like sonnets, free verse poems, narrative poems, haiku, lyric, ode, elegy, ballad, epic poem. These are various forms of poetry, and here you need to find the meanings of all these forms of poetry, and also at least you need to learn 3 to 4 examples for all these poetry forms. And after this is all about poetry, and the next major literary form here is drama. Under drama or play, under play, first and major thing, you need to focus on the plays or the dramas written by Shakespeare. Shakespeare wrote tragedies, comedies, and various sonnets. So Even he wrote long poems. You need to learn the names of all those major works written by Shakespeare. And also here under drama we have various forms like tragedy, comedy, tragicomedy, interludes, morality plays, and mystery plays. So you need to learn all the meanings of these words and at least try to list down 3 to 4 examples for each of these genres or each of these forms. And the next major thing in literary forms is novel. Novel is major, the predominant and the major literary genre during Victorian period. Here you need to learn various types of novels. There are different types of novels which were produced during Victorian period and which include various types like epistolary novel. Epistolary novel is nothing but the novel which is written in the letter form, and you need to learn the examples and the major proponents of epistolary novel, picaresque novel, Bildungsroman Roman novel, dystopian novel, Gothic novel, Kunstel Roman, and biographical novels, memoirs. There are various kinds of novels, and list down all these types and try to make notes on the major writers who produce the novels on basing on this literary forms, basing on this types of novels. So you need to you need to get at least 4 examples for each of these novel types. And short story, another major literary form is short story. Under short story there are classic short stories and also contemporary short stories written by Indian writers and also non-Indian writers. You need to learn the major short stories and the names of all the short stories and written by which short story writer. Here you need to focus on all these 4 major forms like poetry, drama, novel, and short story, and various types of all these genres. Next segment in the part B is literary movements. Yes, there are various literary movements in English literature. In the history of English literature, we can observe more of various movements, various literary movements according to the time. And the major movement was Renaissance, Reformation, Romanticism, Neoclassicism, Realism, Modernism, Postmodernism, Naturalism, Surrealism, Absurdism, Imagism, Vorticism, and Symbolism. These are the various types of movements, literary movements, which occurred in the history of English literature. And under every moment, you need to find the major proponents of that moment, the major poets or major writers involved in those moments. For example, if we take romantic period or romantic moment, Wordsworth, Coleridge, and Keats, these are the major poets which played a major role in romantic moment. And Coleridge, Wordsworth, and Byron are called as lake poets. Lake poets, it's a group which formed during romantic period. This already discussed on lake poets. I already discussed in the previous year papers video. Go and watch that and list down all those important points that I discussed in the previous video. And another example like realism. Under realism we have Charles Dickens and Charlotte Bronte, Anna Bronte, Emily Bronte, George Eliot. So you need to learn the major works written by all these writers and the importance of the moments. Every moment has its unique and its importance and its impact on society. You need to learn all those things. And when it comes to modernism, the major poets or the major writers during this period were T.S. Eliot, Virginia Woolf, James Joyce. So you need to find all the major works written by all these people. When it comes to postmodernism, we have the writers like Salman Rushdie, Thomas Pynchon, Don DeLillo. These are the major writers which appeared during the postmodernism movement. And also you need to learn writers about all the writers from all these literary movements. Once again, I repeat the list of moments that then you just write down in your notebook. Just find the major writers and the importance of every literary movement. I'm giving you the list. Write down: Renaissance, Reformation, Romanticism, Realism, Neoclassicism, Modernism, Postmodernism, Naturalism, Surrealism, Absurdism, Imagism, Vorticism, and Symbolism. These are the major literary movements that you need to focus. And next we have books and authors. Especially they mentioned canonical texts. Here you need to learn the major books or the major texts, canonical texts that appeared in the history of English literature, and the major writers who wrote those canonical texts. Like, as we already discussed, Elizabethan period produced a great dramatist, great playwright, who is none other than William Shakespeare, and he wrote tragedies, comedies, and tragicomedies, and also sonnets, long poems. So the major place of Shakespeare and the publication of his first folio, you need to learn all these things. When it comes to Shakespeare's major plays or major dramas, they are Hamlet, Macbeth, Othello, King Lear, Romeo Juliet, A Midsummer Night's Dream, The Tempest. These are the major plays written by William Shakespeare. And the greatest tragedies written by Shakespeare are Hamlet, Macbeth, Othello, King Lear. Yes, you can expect the question on the greatest tragedies written by William Shakespeare. And the answer is Hamlet, Macbeth, Othello, King Lear. And we have novels also. Under canonical text, we have various novels like Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice, Charles Dickens' Great Expectations, and Pygmalion written by G.B. Shaw. So likewise, you need to learn all the major novels that were produced in the history of English literature, which are considered as canonical or classical. Yes, I'm going to give some more list of major novels or canonical novels. Just try to list down them in your notebook. Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice, Charles Dickens' Great Expectations, and F. Scott Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby, George Orwell's 1984, Leo Tolstoy's War and Peace, J.D. Callinger's The Catcher in the Rye, Herman Melville's Moby Dick, Emily Bronte's Wuthering Heights, Charlotte Bronte's Jane Eyre. These are the major canonical novels. Apart from this list, there are many canonical texts, but you just list down all these major works. Just try to remember the names of all those works and the authors. And when it comes to plays, apart from Shakespeare, there are various writers like Christopher Marlowe's Dr. Faustus, and Samuel Beckett's Waiting for Godot, and Arthur Miller's Death of a Salesman, and G.B. Shaw's Pygmalion, and another play by G.B. Shaw is Saint John, and Oscar Wilde's Importance of Being Earnest. Yes, here I want to tell you one thing, that Oscar Wilde's Importance of Being Earnest is a major play. You need to learn the major plays written by Oscar Wilde. You need to learn the other major plays written by Oscar Wilde and G.B. Shaw, Arthur Miller, Samuel Beckett, William Shakespeare, Christopher Marlowe. And under poetry, under the when it comes to canonical poetry or the classic poetry, you need to learn the works of John Donne, especially his poem Sunrising and another poem A Valediction, Forbidding Morning. These are the major poems written by John Donne, but you need to list down some of the major poems. And John Milton. John Milton is also a greatest poet, and here you need to learn the major works written by him. He wrote epic poems like Paradise Lost, and its a sequel, Paradise Regained. We get the questions on the publication dates of John Milton works, and he also write on the freedom of speech. The work is Areopagitica. We already discussed about John Milton in the previous year video. Go and watch the video. Go and watch the English literature segment in the previous year papers videos. That will help you a lot in the examination. And also we have another important poet, T.S. Eliot, and his major work, The Wasteland. Yes, every time we can expect a question on The Wasteland written by T.S. Eliot. And also the major work of or the magnum opus of William Wordsworth and S.T. Coleridge is Lyrical Ballads. Publication of Lyrical Ballads is considered as the beginning of the Romantic period, and here you need to learn lyrical ballads, how many poems were there, and how many poems were contributed by William Wordsworth, and what is the contribution of Samuel Taylor Coleridge for the publication of Lyrical Ballads. And we already discussed all these things in our previous videos. Go and watch them. And when it comes to Coleridge's magnum opus is Biographia Literaria. S.T. Coleridge, you can get the question on even Biographia Literaria. Samuel Taylor Coleridge wrote Biographia Literaria, and in that work he talks about fancy and imagination. Even you get the question on fancy and imagination. Under imagination, he introduced two types of imagination, that is primary imagination and secondary imagination. And try to learn all these things. This is all about the major books and authors. Here you need to make a list of major works and the writers who wrote all those major works. And this is all about the major books and authors. Yes, if you feel like you have very less time to prepare for the MA English entrance exam, don't mess up your brain by thinking about all these things, by searching various platforms, by taking more and more content into your brain. Don't get messed up, but just focus on the things that I discussed in the video. These are very important, which we can expect in the upcoming exam. The extra points that I discussed in every video is going to be really helpful. You will see the impact of all those extra points and the detailed explanation of all those previous videos in the exam. So try to focus. At least if you are not willing to prepare all these things, just list down the things that I discussed in these videos. And next we have comprehension, that is poetry. Yes, comprehension is nothing but analyzing the poem. They'll give you a poem and you need to analyze the poem. Basing upon the poem, they'll give you 5 to 6 questions, or sometimes they'll give you 10 questions. It depends on the mood of the paper setter or the decision of the paper setter. So under comprehension of poetry, they'll give you a poem. You need to analyze the poem. Under that, you will get the questions like, give the suitable title to the poem, or they'll ask the questions like, they'll ask you to identify the poetic devices, or the imagery that they mentioned in the poem, and also they'll ask who is the speaker of the poem, and they'll ask you the questions basing upon your understanding on the speaker's tone and perspective, and also they'll ask the questions on poem's structure and its form. As we already discussed, there are various poetry forms like sonnets, elegy, ballad, ode, haiku. Likewise, there are various poetry forms. They'll ask you to the poetry structure and the form. Even there, if when it comes to sonnets, they'll ask you the rhyme scheme. Sometimes they ask you rhyme scheme. We have various sonnets like Italian sonnet and English sonnet. Italian sonnet is also known as Petrarchan sonnet, and English sonnet is also known as Shakespearean sonnet, Spenserian sonnet. So they'll ask you to find the rhyme scheme. So this thing also we discussed in our previous video. Go and watch them. This is all about comprehension, that is poetry, analysis of a poem. And next, comprehension, prose. Here you need to focus on the understanding the passage. First, you just read the passage, understand all the lines or all the paragraphs in the passage, and when you find anything important, just make a note of them in your rough sheet. Then you will get the answers. First read the passage, then go to the questions. Don't directly jump to the questions. First read the passage. You need not to, if you do like this, if you search the question, if you read the question first, then the passage, then it becomes difficult for you to get the answers. It kills your time. So read the passage first, then do the questions. Then try to find the answers for the questions. Here you need to practice more and more passages and more poems. When you practice them, at least you need to practice 10 to 20 passages and 10 to 20 poems before the exam, so that you can answer them easily. And the kind of questions that they ask in the exam, you will get to know all these things. And here they will majorly ask you again the predominant question in comprehension of a passage or a poem is, suggest the suitable title for the passage, suggest the suitable title for the poem. And they also ask the questions on themes, motives, and also the character development when it comes to when they give you a passage on a character and their motives. And also they'll ask you the questions on author's tone and his style. And sometimes they'll give you excerpts or extracts from the novels, short stories, and essays. So here you need to be very careful while doing these things. Don't waste your time simply sitting on comprehending or analyzing the poem or comprehension passages. After the completion of all the bits, then only jump to passage. If you get the passage in between the exam, however that is going to be the CPT exam, you will get in the middle or in the beginning or in the last or at the end. Whenever you get the passage, just skip the questions. My suggestion is that do the questions of comprehension or analysis of a poem or comprehension passage at the end of your exam. After completing all the bits, focus on comprehension, poetry, and prose. So this is all about part B of English literature, part B of MA English syllabus, that is English literature. So focus on all these things, especially on history of English literature and major books and authors, and try to practice comprehension of poetry and prose. And one thing I want to suggest that while comprehending the poem, just go with the literal meaning. Just don't go with the literal meaning. There will be a figurative meaning for each word, the implied meaning that tests your analytical skills. So this is all about part B or English literature of MA English syllabus. Yes, if you have any doubts on this video, you can mention them. You can ask them in the comment box. I'm here to respond and I'm here to help. So if you like the content, click on the like button, share it to your friends and subscribe to my channel. For more interesting videos on English literature, visit my channel. If you like the content, that gives me motivation to make more videos on MA English entrance exam. As we have very less time, basing upon your response to my videos, I'm going to make more videos. So click on the like button, share it to your friends and subscribe to my channel. And there are various previous year papers like TG CPGET 2025 M English previous paper, which got 2000 plus views. Thanks to my subscribers and the viewers and the students who are going to appear for MA English entrance exam. Thanks for making this video a successful for this success, and all the best for your preparation. Watch this. Those who haven't watched this video, go and watch this video. This video is going to be really helpful. And there is another video, the part 2 video of the same previous year paper. In the previous year, in the first video we discussed 50 questions, and in the part 2 video we discussed the remaining 10 questions, and in the third video we discussed the remaining 40 questions, 60 to 100th question. So go and watch all these videos. And another video, that is MA English 2024 entrance exam question paper part 1, detailed analysis with answers. In this video we discuss the first 50 questions of 2024 question paper, and another video, part 2 video of 2000 question paper, and another video, that is the complete paper of 2023 question paper, detailed analysis or detailed explanation with answers. Go and watch all these videos. These videos will give you a confidence to get ready for the exam. So don't waste your time. If you're feeling like you're not doing well or you're not studying well, just watch these videos. This will play a major role in the exam. This will show you a complete different impact on your preparation. And another video on antonyms, the major antonyms or the important antonyms that we can expect in the TG CPGET 2025 MA English entrance exam. Go and watch the video on antonyms. Yes, try to watch all these videos and make notes. One thing I want to suggest here, that don't just watch the video and leave the video. While watching the video, take a notes, take a pen and notebook and try to write down the extra points, the other options that I discussed in the video. When it comes to part A, part B, I discussed all the 4 options in detail, and also I gave examples, and also I discussed the expected questions from that area or from that concept. So try to list down all those things. Here, one thing I want to suggest, before the exam, 2 days before the exam, start revising all the things that you learned from all these days. If you go to the exam without revision, without revising the things that you have studied, then there is no use of studying or learning all these things. So revision is the major thing that you need to focus. Allot the last 2 days only for revising the things that you have studied so far. And for more interesting updates on TG CPGET 2025 MA English, visit my channel. And if you have any doubts, or if you want me to discuss anything about English part A or part B English literature, you can ask me, or you can provide your feedback in the comment box. Your feedbacks plays a major role. Your feedbacks gives me energy to create more and more content on MA English entrance exam. If you like the content, click on the like button, share it to your friends, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching.